Hi, everybody. How are you doing?
Woo!
This is Danny. Thanks, Danny, for being here today.
Thank
And
you, Gail.
thanks, everybody, for joining us on this Tuesday morning for you, afternoon for me.
Yeah, Tuesday morning still.
Yes. So, everybody, we were going to be talking, of course, about this is going to be a galactic conversation. And we're going to be talking about the ETs, of course. And um, we have been talking about a lot behind stage, a lot. We've gotten really into the weeds about this step behind stage.
We did a little bit.
But let me say hello to some people. Hey, Yoga by Jane. Thanks for being here. Hey, Sharon Sipe. Thanks for putting all the stuff in the chat box
Yes.
for us. Appreciate you.
So good. She is so good. Thank you.
Hey, Debbie, Three Shifting Bells. Hey, Kathleen Garrison. Hey, Suzanne. Hey, White Dragon. Let's see who else is here. Hey, Lacey Gray. Hey, Isabel. Hey, Rossi. Hey, Disney. Disney, Dissne. That's a great name.
Dizzy knee.
Yes. Hey, Eddie Moore. Hey, Jennifer Cooper. Hey, Son of Watt. Thanks
So
for
what?
Son of Watt. Thanks for being
So
here
what?
today. Yeah, Son of Watt. The first time I saw him, I was going, Son of Watt. What kind of name is that? But
What?
I love that name.
I know it's so good.
Yeah. Hey, Crystal Blue. Hey, JL. Hey, Rossi. Thanks for being here. And Trouble Squared. You are so right.
Uh-oh. Well, uh-oh.
Yes. Um, yes, you're right. Hello, Pamela. Thanks for being here. Oh gosh, let me see if I can get good hitting that thing.
Any
Hey,
bigger.
hey, Patricia. Um, hey, Annie Bear. Oh, hey, Kim. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Kim.
Medium Kim's here. Hey,
Woohoo.
hey, Hypnicity. Um, is there? Well, that's a good question. Is there any gold in Fort Knox? Who would even dream of that question? How do you even come up with that? I mean,
Oh, because Pumpkinhead
Pumpkinhead.
is wanting, yeah, Trump is trying to go into Fort Knox to see all the shiny gold bars.
Oh, okay.
Him and Elon.
He's
Oh my
probably put them in his pocket. Hey, Andrea, thanks for being here today. And I'm starting some questions. Hey, Marissa, and we'll get to them soon. Hey, Linda J, thanks for being here. Hey, Helen H. Hey, M, thanks for being here today. And Danny, what do you wanted to talk about today?
Are there any gold bars in Fort Knox?
Kim saying, let them stay a long, long time. I guess lock them up, huh, Kim? Anyway,
Yeah.
this is not
Any.
this is not the channel for politics.
No. No, we're not doing politics today. Yay. Yay. So there was a really fun diversion show on Netflix,
Yes.
and it was called Resident Alien. And I had a question on my channel from DRC that was asking about, is all this alien stuff, I mean, is it that we're hearing, is it true, with, and that question is just so big because everybody has a different um, awareness of the galactic beings, as my understanding, depending on what they're able to receive. Because if they get all this information all at once, the you could probably go crazy. I would think so. For me, I get it in little bits and pieces so that I can understand it. But Resident Alien,
Yeah,
fun, fun, fun
yeah.
show.
Debbie saying, I love that show. Annie Bear saying her husband loves that show. I love that show.
It's goofy as hell. It's and my hillbilly brother's wife, who said that Superman, oh, that Jesus was an alien,
Yeah.
which just shocked me. that she would even come up with that.
Yeah.
Because she's like, well, she's married to a hillbilly, nonetheless. But they were having a hard time with it. So they're going to try to rewatch it again. I go, you got to watch it. It's funny. So how much, Gail, is
I'm looking at Patricia. I was looking at Patricia, and Patricia, you got to get through the first episode before it gets really funny. That first episode was, I remember, Danny, you calling me about that, going, I don't know about this show.
Yeah.
And I kept going, it's so funny. You're going to love it.
Yeah. It's really, really silly and funny. And yeah, I think you have to get through the first episode.
Hey, George, we're not doing anything political today. So I don't want you to think I'm ignoring your question, but today is not about politics. Go ahead, Danny. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, no. So what, on a scale of 1 to a gazillion, because we're talking space, how much of that is true in your awareness?
Well, there is a lot that's true. In fact, I want to know who was writing the script and who the people writing the script, because there's a lot.
Yeah.
That's true on that show. Now, the last of the episodes, or the last season, the last half of the season, I was having issues with the abduction, those things. I was having issues with that. And because I have experienced that, and that is not how I have experienced it.
Yeah. Yeah. So when they abduct somebody, it's not to take a baby and put him in an incubator on a spaceship.
Listen to you, Danny. He's we just talked about this behind the scenes. Danny, you explain it, because if you want to share that information.
Okay.
I don't know how much you want to share. I'm pretty open book about my experiences, but I've been going, come on, Danny.
Come on. Well, yeah, because part of the thing that I think is extremely true is the fact that you don't remember a lot of stuff that is going on behind closed eyelids.
Right.
So when you, like we were just talking about, we're finding ourselves taking naps and not like a light nap, but a really deep sleep nap that is, and I wake up and I go, what the heck just happened? I mean, because it's so deep.
Yeah, I just recently had, we started that conversation. A friend of mine called me and said her angels were trying to get in touch with her to call me to tell me to rest, which I was like, what? Rest? But anyway, so I decided I'm going to go take a nap. I'm going to lay down and take a nap. An hour and a half later, I was out. I knew I had been taken up on the spaceship, which I normally remember what happens to me, but this time I had no idea. And Danny's experiencing the same thing here recently. And also, a couple nights ago, I was taken again, very aware that I have been taken, just can't remember what happened.
Right. And for me, so here's a good question. Because for me, I really don't remember a lot. I remember a little bit about going up. I remember the first time that I did a journey and somebody, a galactic being, gave me the keys, and I go, what are these two? And they go, to your spaceship. And I went, what? I mean, because it was surprising that I got keys to a spaceship. So I'm not that open. How do you, when you do your galactic meditations, how do you remember this? Is there something that you can prepare yourself so that you remember more?
Well, I think, I always have, my phone beside me, which if I have a dream, I'll put a few words in it and I can remember it. So I can remember the next day, because that's usually the very first thing, is that you forget what you dream. You're going in, you wake up in the middle of the night going, I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. You wake up in the morning and you're going, I forgot it. So if I put just a couple of words, or I find that easier than writing a pad, because you got to find that pad and everything. But my phone's usually just sitting right beside me, right there, and I'll just put a couple of questions. Put a couple of
Thoughts.
thoughts in it, and then I can remember it in the morning.
Yeah.
But for me, I have been remembering from the very beginning. I haven't been one that has put the intention out there that I want to remember. In fact, my question always has been, why am I the one that's allowed to remember?
Okay.
I've always been asking that question, because when I started off meeting all the different ETs, I just didn't know what was going on, thinking I had a brain tumor, and thinking something was wrong with me because I'm going medical. What's wrong with me? And thank goodness I had a friend, Meg, who was in the metaphysical world, kept going, I know you, you're okay. Because I probably would have been locked up or medicated at least.
Yeah. Yeah. And so for me, it's the opposite question. I keep going, why? What's wrong with me? How come I can't remember? How come
you're more normal than everybody? I think I'm the abnormal.
I'm more normal? Okay.
Karen's asking, Danny, was it a DeLorean you got the keys to?
No, it was more like a Lamborghini. So when I went into this was very strange too, because so when I got the keys to the spaceship, it was a little teeny pod. It wasn't like this big one. It was just a little pod that I get into. And if I remember correctly, I did have a driver. That was because they didn't want me to wreck the spaceship right off. And so, and where I put it though, I had a garage, which was in the middle of a field, and it was it was like a hillbilly barn that was little teeny, and the wood slats were all, it wasn't high tech at all. It was hillbilly, and it had a goofy lock to it, and I'd come up and the lock would just open up. And I'd go, oh, that's kind of fun. And the doors would open and there would be this shiny, shiny pod. I'm like, oh, this is a fun dream. This is a fun journey. I just played with it. It was great.
GM Dave saying, my wife's name is Gail as well, and uses the name Galactic Gail, very close to Galactica.
Yeah.
Had you thought about using Galactic Gail? That's a good name.
Galactic Gail, yeah.
So of course you probably had somebody who was driving the spaceship or flying the spaceship or whatever, because you become part of the spaceship in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
That was mine. I had a gold being helping me, teaching me. His name was Monto, and he taught me how to fly and how to integrate with the spaceship and put my hands up and do all that stuff to integrate with it so I could fly. Humans, as I have found out, which all the mistakes I made, have most difficulty in focusing, getting our thoughts out of our heads, trying to focus, trying to blend in this ship and trying to make it do what it's supposed to do. So, I made a lot of mistakes.
I thought it was really cool that when I got into the spaceship and not knowing, I'm going, okay, I'm going. It's just like a journey, okay, I'm just going to keep walking I get into the spaceship, and the pilot or whoever, the pilot, when I got in there wasn't any words that were spoken, but I knew instinctively how to control it because there were no controls.
No controls, no anything. But I thought what's fascinating for my spaceship was about the size of 2 cars in the length. And of course, the inside was a whole lot larger.
Well, you had a stretch limo.
Basically. But what was fascinating is you could pull up on, I guess you call it a windshield. I don't know what they call it. The whole map of everything, or the whole map of the universe could come up and you could see everything. And that fascinated me also, that you could see things like that.
Yeah. And that's why you need a pilot, because for me, I'm like, ooh,
Which
shiny, look. And then, you're
Well,
going
that's exactly it. That's the mistakes I was making all the time, drifting, my mind drifting, not paying attention to what I was doing. And that was really the hardest thing to do, was to focus on not doing that kind of thing, which they said is human quality. But,
and when we do this metaphysical work, that's the biggest problem that we have, is to get rid of the clutter and focus on what? On the nothingness, on whatever shows up, and a non-judgmental thing. We clutter it up so much, and that's part of the key, is to let that go. Yeah.
well, do you want to talk about the discovery we made before the show? Do you want to go there?
You can. I'll follow.
Okay. I just want to make sure okay. Barbara Lamb.
Okay, no, let's not go.
Okay, Barbara Lamb.
No, everybody's going, what you guys do?
Well, this is probably about a year ago. Barbara Lamb did a regression session on me.
And you had her on your show 2 days ago.
Yeah, I think, last week. It's last week, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, last week. Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I think it was last week. Yeah, she was on my show last week. Barbara Lamb is, a regression therapist, famous, been on Gaia, been on Ancient Aliens. I've been everywhere. So anyway, I had a regression session with her probably about a year ago, and to find out about when I started going up in the spaceships and when I had contact. Well, of course, I found out I was going up as an infant. From a little bitty infant, I started going up. And when I went up, there was a probably, I'm thinking it was maybe a Palladian that was there. And we were in a room of probably 10 to 20 incubators. It looks like about 10, probably about 10. And this Palladian lady had a girl and a boy in her arms. And that, of course, I was the girl. And she put me down in incubator and put all these things hooked up on my head and all over my body. And I was there probably about 15 or 20 minutes. Then she picked me up, and then she put the boy in and did the same thing. And each station had a ET there carrying 2 or 3 infants. Some had 3, but she only had 2. She had the boy and the girl. And then after we finished, there was like this room that was almost like a bouncy house, and it came up to her knees, and she slid us in there. Slid all of us, and there's about 10 of us in there, 10 babies, that we were in this little bouncy house. Now, we were too young to turn over or do anything, but I just remember how much fun it felt, because it was so soft and kind of floaty. And then we rested, and then we went back home. Well, for the past couple of weeks, I've been told or been questioned, or if the thoughts have been coming in my head, which I'm sure they've been putting the thoughts in my head, that Danny was the boy. And so that's what we read on this morning, and it turns out Danny was the boy that was beside me. So both of us are the ones that got the information, and I felt like each incubator had different information for the group of babies that were going in it. So we're not sure what the information was, but that both of us shared that information and shared that Palladian mother on the ship. Now, it was traumatic for us, because we were being separated from our mothers. So I wasn't comfortable. Well, I was comfortable with that Palladian mother. I felt comfortable with her, but it's still, we were being ripped away from our regular mothers. And so there was some trauma feelings to that separation from our real mothers, even though this woman was wonderful. And it seemed like to me, when I was put in that little bouncy house, I felt relieved that it was over, that I was getting ready to go home. And but I don't remember what Danny was thinking. I just remember what I was thinking.
And I don't remember any of it. So it's going to be interesting to do a journey on that, and maybe even a regression.
Yeah.
I did a QHHT regression in the very beginnings of my opening up to the psychic realm and to the outside world that I was used to, and it was not a very good experience. I was not very open, and I remember the woman saying, "These are just questions. We're just asking questions," but I didn't want to go there.
Right.
There was something that and I feel now if I would do it, I'd be a little more open and a little more willing to go to these places. But it was interesting when you mentioned that. So I threw some cards on it. The very first card I got was the star card, which is like a yes.
Here's Karen saying, Danny's Journey to the Galactic Bounce House coming to Netflix.
written by Dr. Gale. But the reading that I did get at the end, we got some really big information. Mm-hmm. So it always strikes me as odd. They give us this really big information, but then we can't remember what it is.
Well, apparently these trips that we've been taking here recently, or taking us, apparently there's gifts that are coming out that I are either afraid to use or not wanting to use or reluctant to use. I'm not sure what that's all about. But,
okay.
But it's my mantis beings that always come in when it's something new happening. They're always the ones that show up when there's something new happening.
Yeah. There's a lot going on in this community, not just the galactic ET community, but the whole metaphysical community that I've seen that so many people are opening up to their gifts and are afraid or unsure of how to use them.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really true, that that we're being called in to step into that power. And so it's exciting. I mean, it's really, really exciting to see what's going to be coming up in the next. Do we have a time frame as to when this is going to be?
I have stopped doing the time frames because I'm never right. So,
well, what if I paid you? If I paid you to start doing, would you do them?
You'll pay me to be wrong.
Okay, what if I paid you in things that aren't money to be right? I'm being silly.
Yeah, I have, because way back when this started, it was, it was 2024 that they were going to reveal themselves. Well, and of course, I'm thinking the revealing meant they're going to be here on the White House lawn or whatever. But of course, they did reveal themselves. I mean, we saw all the evidence, we've seen, all the things that are happening, steps towards that they have revealed themselves. It's just that we're still not acknowledging them, that they're here.
Yeah.
So it was like I was right, but it was not like what I thought it was going to be. And so that made me like, okay, that's the last time you're going to predict anything.
Yeah. But, that's always the case, when something comes up and you go, oh, well, that's not what I really expected it to be. But it's amazing when it shows up, when we actually do think about it. And what we've been experiencing, I think is, I think it's pretty cool. I mean, the drones over spaceships over the East Coast, and then they get covered up with drone information.
Mhm.
But when I first saw that, I went, those are spaceships.
I think you and I did a show right after that. We both went, both of us at the same time. Those are spaceships.
Those are spaceships. And then they get covered up with a lot of drone, human drone activity, and go, oh, let's kind of fool these people and whatever.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of discernment that needs to go on. And here's a question: when we have too much pushback for ourselves, are we limiting the information that we're getting? Does that make
I very much limit myself. So can't speak for everybody, but I do.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I get a lot of information and I share a lot of information, I think I'm still very reserved on and discerning on what I receive. And I'm not full, like, oh, this is, I don't know this is what's happening. And because I'll go, really? I don't know if I want to share that information.
Yeah. Because for me, when I get information, it comes in and it's really clear until I have to put it through my mouth.
Yeah.
And then it gets really messed up.
Well, it's also trying to get the information, interpret the information, and be able to spit it out to make sense. I mean,
three steps.
Yeah, it's 3 steps, and those are some big 3 steps.
Mm-hmm. Right. And the second one seems to be where it really, really can be twisted a little bit, trying to put it into something for us to understand.
Yeah.
In our 3D.
Well, it's even like the same thing on readings and things. You're having to bring in the information, try to figure it out, and then try to say it correctly. So you have those 3 steps at that time also.
Yeah. Which is why sometimes it's best not to think.
That's right. Well, I try not to, especially when I'm on like shows like this, when I'm getting questions, I let my information just come flow right out and try not to let my human brain get in the way.
Right. And the receiver still has to have some like, well, is this true for me and how does that work? And
yeah.
Cool.
Okay. All right. You ready to take some questions, or do you have something else you want to talk about?
Yeah, I want to talk about what I was doing in that spaceship with you. All connected up. No.
Oh, okay. What you want to read on that? I mean, we can read on it.
Well, I did read on it. We're getting big information. Well, let's read on what kind of information we're getting.
There you go.
Let's read on that.
Okay. I'm starting some questions while you're reading.
Okay.
But I do have 20 questions already, so I think
we better hurry up. What information? I'm going to read on you. What information is Gail getting? Okay, those popped out. Ooh. Okay, immediately what I got the Temperance, the 3 of Swords, and the 5 of Swords for people who read tarot. And when they flew out on the table, I got, you're bringing a message to humanity to heal the heartbreak, but a lot of people aren't listening.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and let me do a 2 star seed.
Hypnosis saying, I wish you 2 would do a weekly show. Hypnosis, we have so many other things to do, but thank you. I appreciate that.
So, yes, thank you. Wow. So I'm using Starseed Oracle deck. You got the Portal card.
That is my favorite deck.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah, the Starseed Oracle deck. I've had this for 100. In fact, this is my second deck. I wore out my first one.
Did you say you've had that for 100 years? Were you going to say that?
At least.
You aliens in your time, I tell you. So this is doors are opening. This is the information that's pouring in. You got the big picture thinking, the information. I mean, this is huge information that's coming in, and it's talking about the weight of the world, which this is the weight of the world. It's the heartbreak of humanity, and you got some big information that's coming in.
Hey, Laura.
I think it's going to lighten the weight of the world up.
If they listen.
Yeah, if they listen. Would you hurry up and deliver this information, please?
Maybe I have been delivering the information.
And they're just not listening. Or
So.
they.
Well, that'd be
I
a good question.
excluded myself.
Or they have already delivered the information. That would be good. Have I already delivered the information and it's not being heard?
Oh.
I've already delivered the information not being heard. I'm getting a yes.
The information. Wow. Yes, you have. Yeah. But it's coming to light. Oh my God. So I got the world card.
Oh, I know what it is.
What?
Oh crap, I know what it is.
Oh, good.
And let me make sure. Because I just discussed this week probably. Is this the 3D, 5D thing? Yes.
Okay.
You ready for it?
I don't know. Are we?
I've already said this before. Okay. I guess it's important because they wanted me to say, and this came on, this information came to me about 15 minutes before I went on my show. And I'm going, why am I kicking out what I'm already supposed to be talking about and talking about this? But it's talking about the 3D and the 5D, and that, and it's a whole different way of looking at this. And so I've been challenged with it myself. And what's happening is the people who are in 5D are not being seen. Like, we're going to notice walking into a store that you're not seeing. You're going to see them, but they can't see you. And you're going to be wondering, why are they not waiting on me? Why are they not talking to me? Why are these people? But you're resonating in 5D at that. It's hitting you what's happened recently. Well, when I got the information, it hit me because I think a week before that, I had gone to a gym that nobody noticed me when I walked in. And I ended up doing the tour by myself because nobody paid attention to me. I went to Best Buy right after that. Nobody waited on me. Nobody saw me. Nobody acknowledged me. Nothing. And I just going, what in the world is wrong? And so that's going to be happening to us more and more, moving to the 5D, that we can see 3D, just like our guides and everything that are in 5D. They can see everything we're doing, but we can't see them. So we're moving up to that where we can see more things, but they cannot see us. Wow. And so our paths are separating, and this is what's happening. And you know how we've been kind of like preaching unity, everybody's got to get along, blah, 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 blah. Well, it's more like we're going to be getting along with ourselves in 5D, the people in 5Ds.
Yeah.
We're not going to be worrying about the people in 3D because they're separating into a different world.
Okay.
And so I didn't realize how important that was, but apparently that's important. Does that make sense to you? Did it make sense?
Oh, it makes sense. Hey, where'd you go? Gail?
And so,
Gail?
Yes.
No, that makes perfect sense. And this goes back to me trying to put something into words, because I've had that concept of, that, we're going to be separate from them, but still connected to them.
Right.
And I'm like, how does that work? And I couldn't.
It's like our guides are connected to us.
Yeah.
They can see us, but we can't see them. Things like that. And so also, okay, here's the other thing. We're thinking like there's like this all cut off, like 3D, 5D. Well, there's like 10 stages in each dimension. So like the people that are going to be staying in 3D, they'll probably be kind of at the top level, and we're at the low level of 5D. So we still have a lot of stages, and even our guys and things are probably a lot higher than us. So it's not that simple as we flip a switch from 3D to 5D. So we have different levels in each one of those areas that we have to work through.
Yeah.
If I'm making sense. And I didn't realize how important that information was.
But it's kind of like walking up those staircases in an office building, and you can get to the 3rd floor, and then if you want to go to the 4th floor, well, you got to do all those steps.
Right.
So each step is just a little higher vibration to get to the 4th floor. And it's like the fire escape elevator, or not elevator, but yeah. I haven't been in one of those tall buildings in like 10 years.
Yeah. Well, when I said that in my show last week, when I talked about it, I can't remember who it was in the chat saying, oh, that makes sense, because she said she had been at the butcher shop and nobody saw her. They waited on everybody else, and when it came to her turn, they walked away.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of things that are going to happen. And even now, when I remember when I walked through the gym that I was looking at and taking a tour of, there was only one person, and it was the lifeguard at the pool that looked at me. Nobody else noticed me. That one lifeguard is the only one that saw me.
Well, that's good that the lifeguard.
Yeah, it is good that the lifeguard.
Going to have somebody look at you. Might as well be a lifeguard.
Yes.
Was he in short shorts?
It was a female.
Oh.
And I don't know what she was wearing.
What? Okay, never mind. It's just me being, a guy. What?
Well, I was walking through going, oh, somebody's going to stop me. I didn't know why people didn't notice me or didn't see me, and it was a first experience like that. And to happen there, and then to go to Best Buy and it happened again.
Yeah.
I was coming home. I was calling Nancy Jean and going, nobody noticed me today. Something is wrong. And then, of course, a week later, I get that information.
Yeah. So I went to this new metaphysical store that I new to me anyway. And I go, oh, there's this place is packed, a little teeny store, packed full of stuff. And I walked in there, nobody noticed me.
In a metaphysical store.
Nobody, I'm like, I almost had to like get in their face for them to see me. It was weird. I just thought that was really bizarre. You would think that somebody would say at least hello as you walk into a store.
Or follow you because they think you're going to steal something.
Yeah. Because I did. I mean, they weren't paying attention to me. I said, I'm taking it.
Just take everything. Y'all don't see me, but I'm taking everything. Now you know what's happening, and that's happening. And my message was to tell everybody to be prepared that that's what's going to happen. We're going to see that more and more as we separated. Now, is the total separation going to be in the next 10 years? No. But it's going to be happening more and more and more that we will see them and they can't see us. Now, my thought was, after I figured out what was going on, I got the message, was we're at Thanksgiving and I'm with my family and I'm taking a bite of pecan pie and I'm way up there in 5D because I'm eating this pecan pie and it's delicious. Do I just disappear with my pie? Or does the pie stay there and I disappear? I don't know. I guess we're all going to be on a journey to find that out. But that's
do we get to go with our pies or not?
Yeah. Do I get to keep my pie and keep eating it, or does it disappear? So anyway, so that was my thought,
Wow.
Especially, with families like that, because just like you have families that you're already separating from, and that they're going to stay in the 3D. Now, everybody, that's the other big message, is that people who are going to stay in 3D, that's where they're comfortable. And you don't want to pull them along to where they're uncomfortable. Let them stay where they're comfortable. We're not comfortable being in 3D. They're not comfortable being 5D, but don't look at them that something's wrong with them. Just let them be where they're comfortable. That's one of the biggest messages also. It's not like you're supposed to get out there and pull them along and pull them with you. They might have to go through like steps 9 and 10 and 3D again before they are ready or comfortable to move up. But there's nothing wrong with them being where they're at and you being where you're at.
Except, Gail, when you're looking at me, then you're going to pull me along.
I'm pulling you along forever. But it's not from 3D to 5D. I've just been pulling you along on the ET journey.
I'm like, is this comfortable? Yes, it is. Keep coming, Danny. Really?
I don't care if you're comfortable. Come on, Danny.
Yeah, what a ride. It's awesome, gotta say.
All right, you ready to take some questions?
Yeah.
All right, everybody. We've been yakking.
Oh, we've been giving out good stuff.
Yes.
Good stuff.
All right. So here is Yoga by Jane. Do ETs make waste garbage? If so, how do they deal with it? Well, that's a good question, Jane. However, that's such a broad question. Each ET group is different. Some don't even have like bodily waste that they kind of like sweat or not even sweat do when their waste comes out of their own bodies. And they, most of them, I don't know if most of them, a lot of them have AI generated living areas, which that waste is kind of taken care of. So they don't produce that much. And there's ETs that eat like paste. And then there's some that eat food. So it's kind of different for each one of them. But I don't think any of them produce as much waste as we do. Danny, what you have on that one?
Oh, I think that's absolutely right. Yeah. We are the biggest waste producers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not at all. I would imagine it'd be just like what you said.
Yeah. Spiritual hacks saying most ETs are not physical like us, but those that are have waste generated systems. Yeah, they are. So many of them have their waste. Well, it's AI is controlling their atmosphere and everything, and the waste and everything. So they just don't have those to deal with it like we do.
It'd be like Kevin Costner on Waterworld.
What about
he recycles his waste?
Okay, all right.
Moving on.
Yeah, moving on that one. He recycles his waste. Well, that's what you're supposed to do when you're out in the desert, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. White Dragon. Oh, thanks, White Dragon, again. Hello, all. Please put all questions in all caps to help Gail out. Also, like and subscribe. Yes, like and subscribe to both channels, please. And give a thumbs up or a comment, whatever. Thank you. And thank you, White Dragon, for looking after us.
So I had a question on my channel too from DRC, and she asked, let me see if I can pull it up real quick because I can't add it to this, but it's very similar to that last question because it's so broad. Okay. How much of the present day ET information is true and how much is false? And to me, that goes back to, who's giving the information and how connected they are to the information. For me, I find that if I live in this arena, this ET arena for a long time, I'll get a lot more information. But because I'm spread out in different areas, that I'm only getting bits and pieces of the ET information. You, Gail, I'm sure get way more galactic information than most, because that's what you do.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's where I live there. I live there. Even my healing sessions, when I do this Lair Healing Center, or recently I've been doing color therapy, the ETs are the ones that are assisting me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So it's you have to look at, for me, when I hear people talking about galactic beings and what, I go, well, where do you live mainly? Do you just like tap in, okay, I got this information, and then go away from it? Or I don't know, but there's always some discernment, and I'm always open to the possibility of it being true as long as it's not hurtful.
yeah, and yeah, I don't even have anything to add to that, Danny. Except I'm looking at this comment. I'm going to go back to this, and you can continue on, but I don't want to miss it. But Mark's saying they poop plasma, and well, I think there's some truth to that. And also, when I've dealt with the human hybridization program a lot, and everybody has their theories about the cow mutilization. And what I found out with that was that they do come in, and is the ETs. Of course, there are some humans that are doing it too, but they use that, all the parts for the human hybrids. And that the first year, a hybrid has to have special formulas. They even have to have a transfusion when they're born. And so they're using all these things from the cows to produce these transfusions and formulas. So there's a lot to, hey, starfish. But so there's a lot to, but go ahead, Danny. I don't know.
Well, that's,
right there.
yeah,
I went right there.
I think that's pretty much it for me. That's
Okay.
Say. Yeah. Hey, Tony. Tony's here. Shining Hawk Healing. Yay, yay, yay. Good to see her back on YouTube.
Oh, good. She's back. Okay. This is Lacey. I would love any information you can share with me about any galactic ties I might have and where I might energetically originate from. I don't know anything. Thank you. And also I saw a comment here. I don't remember who it was, but they're asking if they were a starseed. And whoever that was, or anybody who has that question, if you haven't gone running, kicking and screaming from this channel with the information we're talking about, you're starseed. So you can rest assured that if you're absorbing it and you're not going, look at those two crazy people talking about that stuff up there, and you're resonating with it, that means you are a starseed.
Did you just call me crazy?
I call myself crazy too.
Oh, and then the other one next to you.
Yeah. Yes.
That we can't see.
That's right. So anyway, Lacey, she wants to know where her galactic ties are and where she might energetically originate from. She doesn't know anything. Is there anything that you want to know, Lacey? Because you said you don't know anything. And I'm hearing Palladians. That's what I'm hearing. Let me check to make sure that's true.
I'm hearing a gray.
You're hearing gray?
Gray. Lacey Gray.
Lacey Gray, listen to you. You're connected to the Palladians. That's where you're energetically connected to. And what else is anything? I don't know anything. I think you know a lot more than you think you do. Oh, hey, they are Narcissus. Can you say that? First time see Dr. Gail, but she was mentioned to me before by someone. Oh, well, good. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. But I'm getting Palladians. Danny, do you want to read? How about giving her a message? Because she doesn't know anything. And you have a Palladian guide that I see standing right there beside you that has been, this is what he's doing. He's saying, I've been tapping you on the head.
I remember the first time that when I didn't know anything, I still don't, but Kim did a reading for me, and she goes, you have 3 aliens around you. And I went,
really connected. Yeah.
What? I went, what? No, get out. Anyway, so that's kind of interesting that you see that Palladian tapping her on the head. Hey, Lacey. So here's the message I got for her. And I'm using my Galactic Heritage cards. So these are very powerful. I get the messages, alone time and power of sound. And that is going to connect you to the Pleiadians. Yeah. And they're saying that there's some devotion to service. Now, I could go deeper in this and say, is that the Pleiadians, their devotion to service for you to help you along? Or is it them giving you some information so that you can be of service? And I think it's both. When I said it, I think it's them being devoted to opening up you to the messages. And I would play with sound and being quiet, getting in that quiet meditative state to hear them.
Sound, because I'm kind of seeing drumming.
Say it again.
I'm kind of seeing drumming. I mean, I know that's sound, but
Yeah.
I'm seeing drumming.
So in the shamanic way of meditating, that the drum puts you in an altered state, and it actually I don't know, I forget the name, the theta state or something.
Yeah.
Put your brain in that theta, that state.
Whatever brainwaves, yeah.
Yeah, so that you can, and Tony's going, yeah, heartbeat of the earth. So
well, she might not know, Lacey, I don't know, because I talk like this too, but what shamanic means. She might not, since she says she doesn't know anything.
Okay. So the spiritual. Okay, let me see if I can put this in one sentence.
Put you on the spot.
The spirituality of the earth is what is called shamanism. So this is the oldest spiritual practice on the planet. It goes back hundreds of thousands of years. It started in Siberia, where we are all connected and we are all part of everything, rocks, trees, planets, and everything has a message that we can listen to. And so shamanism takes us back to that root place.
All right, Lacey,
I hope I explained that correctly.
You probably got more information than you wanted. She probably her head spinning going,
yeah.
I even asked that question. So there you go, Lacey. All right, let's see who's next. We got Annie Bear here. Annie Bear. Any message? You want to give her a message?
Sure. I'm gonna give her one of your favorite
decks, cards.
Yeah. Okay, actually I'm doing this one too. Annie Bear. You get two. Do you get something for her?
I'm looking at her right now.
Okay.
And all I'm seeing, I don't know why I'm seeing her head in her hands in worry.
Oh.
That was really bothering me.
Okay.
Okay, Annie Bear. Almost like a tarot card is what she looks like. It's just Annie Bear, it looks like to me we've got to get rid of some of the anxiety. Are you dealing with a lot of anxiety right now?
Yeah, I'm getting the same thing.
Are you?
Yeah.
What are your cards saying?
So I used my Galactic contact cards, and we got crop circles, which is the message, and it's Mandelbrot. And that is all about the foundation. And when you talked about it, I got her on the ground, connecting to the ground. And Mandelbrot is body, mind, spirit, to really connect with that. And then from your favorite deck, the Starseed Oracle, I got loosen your grip in lost lands. So loosen your grip is coping mechanisms, let spirit in, and lost lands is reminding you, Annie, that you've done this before. You know how to handle this. So get back to basics, get back to grounding, and tapping into Mother Earth.
Yeah, and just saying, holding you in love, dear Annie Bear. Yes. So anyway, Annie Bear, I think Danny's is right on this with the stress that you're having. Just go back to basics. You got to let go of some of these things. You got to let go, which is really hard when you're in the middle of it. But I think sometimes, for me personally, if I'm in a lot of stress, taking a paper and pencil or whatever, pen, and writing a list of things that are going on. Sometimes when I put it in writing and look at it, it makes it a little easier to figure it out. And I don't know, that might not be a technique that a lot of people use, but that's one that does help me.
Yeah.
So anyway, Annie Bear, I hope you figure it out, and I hope you get a lot better, but I really don't like seeing you stressed like that.
Yeah.
All right. I am going to look for one last question, and I'm going to look for a good one.
A good one.
I hope I find one. Do you see one, Danny, that you want to pull up?
These are all good. Let me see. The gifts that you should focus on, just to throw that out there, we should focus on just being more open and aware to all the gifts that we have.
Oh, here's a good one. George, is there a way to identify an ET that walk among us? Oh, she's asking Lori that, I guess. Are you asking us that or Lori that? George, I'm not real sure. I think that might be he's asking Lori that. We can read on that if you want.
Is there a way to look at their hands, and if they're webbed, ET. They look like this.
Well, for me, I met my first two when I was at the dog park, and I didn't know that's what they were. But what I find in common with them, because I met later, is that they can't hold a normal conversation for very long. And it kind of goes off to crazy rails and that you think they're on the spectrum. But that's how I now, whenever I say, and if I start off with a conversation, it's, light chit chat, and then they go off to crazy land on something else. I'm going, oh, you're not from here. And and if you can look at the ears, sometimes the ears look a little different. And of course, like if it's a Palladian and they're absolutely beautiful and drop dead gorgeous, then you kind of question that too. But how about you, Danny?
Yeah. I don't know. I know that.
And just saying, oh crap, I'm an ET.
Who said this?
Angela, which might be true.
I remember listening when I was in Shasta. I was listening to Chiron, Lee Carroll, and he's giving a description of a Lemurian. And I'm like, this is very early on. I didn't even know what Lemuria was.
Right.
And he talks about these really tall beings. And I'm like, how does he know? This is just, he's crazy talk. This is crazy. And I look out my window, and here's this gorgeous 7-foot tall blonde woman with her little daughter walking along in front of my camper. And I went,
well, there you go.
What? And so, as soon as that thing shut down, as soon as that conference closed or the podcast closed, I went out to try to find her. Wasn't there.
Yeah. Well, remember the time that we were up at Mount Shasta and I was waiting for the guy to come off the mountain? He was walking down the mountain barefoot, and I knew he was one. I knew it. And he was starting to walk towards me. I was sitting on a bench, and it started to walk towards me. And here comes Danny. sitting right next to me, and the guy goes, yeah, and walks on off.
Well,
It scared him away.
that happens with me a lot. The ETs just look at me and just run. But it was interesting because you go, I want to meet an ET, and I go, well, that's one right there.
Yeah.
And then I went down and because he was, I mean, he was walking barefoot on the mountain.
And we were all like sweat,
Yes.
freezing.
And I go down to his car, and he had one of those Tesla spaceship cars. And on the back, he had JPL, Jet Propulsion Lab stickers. And I think he had a SETI sticker. And I go, that's an alien. I was just making fun, but I think it was true.
It's true. Yeah, it was true. But yeah. So it's hard sometimes to know it when you're in the moment. You know it later. But anyway, thanks, Danny, for being here. It's another great show, as always.
That's it. We're done. Can't we talk for another hour?
We could, but I think yeah. Anyway, all right. Thanks everybody for being here. Thanks moderators for making this a safe place.
Thank you. Yes.
Sorry we didn't get to all your questions. And Danny, when's your next show?
I'm going to be on Denise's channel, Denise Night Divination, and we're going to be doing low-level politics. So yeah.
Okay.
So that's tomorrow, 111-1111.
Okay. And I think my next show will be Friday, and I'll be on with Mary.
Oh.
And Saturday I'll be on with Terry.
And I got a show with Mary coming up, I think next week. I think.
Okay.
Yay.
All right. So, all right, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and we will see y'all later. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.